Who's driving? What the? Hey guys, I wanted to give you an update on the Ozempic. I did a video, I think like a month or two ago about it, but... Okay guys, so I'm gonna do the injection in the thigh, where is one of the spots that our labs and our numbers in proper order. Interesting, it's a little rough in the beginning because when you're used to eating things, you eat and portions are really important. Like you're used to eating larger portions and all of a sudden right after you eat, you get like nauseous and yeah, you know, nobody likes to feel that way. But there's good news on this, okay? And I want to share it with the audience, with the viewers. Anyway, this is the Ozempic here. Let me get it for you. Just so I know you've seen it. You've already seen it, but it's I don't know how it looks on the screen, but it's Ozempic and it's 0.5 milligrams on here, okay? And if you've watched my video, you know that I've been taking this now for over 2 months. The initial dose was 1 month. That was the trial dose to see if the person's body can adjust to it. And thankfully mine did. It controls your hunger desires, okay? You know, and me, I've just seemed to have lost all my self-discipline, okay, for carbs and sugar. This is my current one that I'm taking. This is the deal though, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit just about the food cost, okay? There's like things in here, like a loaf of bread, for example, okay? A loaf of bread. I used to go through probably 3 loaves of bread a week, easy. This half a loaf left has been in our ref for 2 weeks. Okay, so I stopped eating bread. I stopped eating a lot of. I drink less milk with my coffee. You know, I have coffee in the mornings, and I eat less of potatoes. Okay, I do still eat them, but it's not the fact that I'm struggling to fight my urges with it. With Ozempic, you don't have the urges anymore. Actually, how it works is it actually gets you a little sick. If right when you're learning how to adjust to your eating habits, because that's what they are. It puts you on eating habits. And it's really, it's interesting. You know, sweets maybe. My wife makes homemade ice cream. I still take a spoonful now, maybe 2, that's it. And I'm good. You know, I don't even eat a bowl. You know, we have small bowls that we use in our household here, you know, like these. And I don't even use those. I basically just take one teaspoonful. And it's not even the size of this. You know, it's just a teaspoon. And so the deal is what it does is it adjusts your eating habits forcefully because it gets you sick, and nobody wants to be sick. So it took me about 3 weeks straight of stubbornness. Oh no, I'm going to eat that portion, and then my portions got smaller and smaller and smaller, and then now it's like, you know, my wife will ask me, well, what do you want for dinner? And I'm like, no, I'm good. You know, I'm good. I don't want any dinner because I don't want to go to bed sick. And it's fine. It's not like I'm going to bed hungry. I'm not. I really feel like I don't need the food. And I'm going to tell you right now, look guys, I have lost so much weight, okay? I mean, I have lost so much weight. I'm not sucking my belly in. I've lost so much weight. In pounds, I probably lost about 25 pounds. And it's been about 60 plus days. But it's that second month, okay, from day 31 to day 60 is when you start losing the weight and start figuring out your portions. So you guys, you know, some people are talking about the cost of it, okay? And I'll put it on the screen, but I'll tell you the exact cost is about what because I have the senior ID from our brand guy. So I get 20% off of prescribed medication. And this obviously is a prescribed medication. So it's about 1,600 pesos a shot. And there's one shot a week, okay? So 1,600 pesos a shot, and there's one shot a week, so you get 4 shots a month. In that box I showed you, there's 4 needles already pre-filled with the medication in there. And you just do it yourself. You saw the other video, you just inject it yourself. I'll put it kind of on the screen too. I'll scroll it on the screen in this video. But look, the reason I'm bringing this up is this. I had to do a budget check, right? I'm like, wow, okay, this really does not fit in our budget. And I've said this before, we are on a minimum budget, but everything is paid for, and that's the only way we're really able to do it, but it's still a struggle. So, but when I figured out what I was saving on food cost, you guys, it paid for itself. So when something pays for itself and it gets you healthier, yeah, that's a win-win. I can't see doing it any other way. In my case, I really wanted to get healthy, and I just didn't have that willpower. Sorry, I have on a different shirt because I'm recording this part later in the evening. Anyway, the benefits for me totally outweighed everything. Not just the money. As you can see, the money just about equaled, by a few hundred pesos. But it was the benefits that was really important. Cardiovascular and blood pressure, as you can see, it lowered my blood pressure. I did not have to stay on lisinopril anymore. I didn't need it. In fact, I found out when I found out my blood pressure was too low. As soon as I started losing that weight, my blood pressure started getting lower and lower, and I'm like, what's going on? So, oh yeah, okay. Which improves our heart health, all of us. When we're in our 60s, 70s, and upward, we need to think about these things more particularly, but even when you're young, you do. So it lowers stroke and heart attack risk. And for expats out here, we understand medical insurance is far and few between. We know there is a couple of good plans out here, but a lot of us self-insure because when we get upward in our late 60s, 70s, even the affordable health insurance is not so affordable anymore when we're on a pension. So, and really important is the blood sugar. My blood sugar was always high. I was always borderline close to pre-diabetes, or diabetes. So, and there's a lot of that because there's so much sugar. Everywhere we look, there's sugar. So, so it does reduce the type 2 diabetes. So it makes us less reliant on medication. Full disclosure, I'm not a doctor. I've never played one on TV either, but I'm just sharing my own experience, okay? And my own lab work and my own numbers with blood pressure and my own numbers after I take certain medication. So, it makes me less reliant on medication. That's true, it does. Brain and cognitive health, as you can see in the chart, better circulation to the brain, which improves mental clarity and energy levels. Energy levels are way up, you guys. So for those of you who are taking the little blue pill, it's not just about the weight loss, it's about not eating certain foods. So you may not be too overweight or not overweight at all, but your body, when you still ingest sugars and carbs or too much of them, it's not healthy. So, and cancer and inflammation, part of this chart, it does reduce certain types of cancer, okay? And it lowers chronic inflammation, and there's a decreased risk of prostate cancer, and that's huge in men in their 60s and 70s, you guys. Huge, So that's why I always try to do a PSA test every year with other labs, But sleep and energy, yeah, definitely better sleep. Increased daytime energy and endurance, yes, definitely. My average day is from 3 a.m. to 2 or 3 p.m. So I'm 64 and I can pretty easily work a 12, 14-hour day. I'm retired, but when I say work, I mean, my videos and then this other service we got going with the shorts, and that's it's a charitable business, but it's still a business and it has to be run like one. So, and it just reduces overall causes of mortality and the risk of that. And that's the bottom line, really. You know, we want to stick around a little bit longer, right? You know, well, I hope you do. You know, I know that I do. As long as the quality of life is there, though. I don't want to stick around if there's no quality of life. You know, I had this conversation with my wife just last night about that. So, and we're actually going to go into that in another episode we're already working on. It's almost done. It's part of the Taking Care of Your Filipino series. And we had to take a little bit more time to do this because we had to talk to insurance guy and our attorney. And, you know, we just wanted to make sure we got the right information in there. And incredibly, we were able to offer, as part of the digital visa and real estate vault, now we have estate planning vault in there too. So you guys don't need to always go to an attorney. It's always advisable. You know, if you're not sure, it's always advisable to. But Philippines has a pretty basic baseline law on estate planning. And it's not that complicated, you know. So, but anyway, I just wanted to get into that as part of this video for health, because this is regarding our health and how important it is. So you saw the weight in a quick pic I did, because nobody wants to see a 64-year-old man's belly, right? So I didn't want to show that too long. But you saw the weight difference. I fit in about 80% more of my clothes now. I had a whole closet full of clothes. When I got here, I was 30 pounds less. And then when I went clothes shopping, you know, and they were nice clothes, you know, still hanging in my closet, but I was only able to wear 20% of them. They were too tight, you know, shorts, shirts, t-shirts, everything. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, because if you're struggling with weight, if you're struggling with health, everything falls into line. When you lose weight, you lower your blood sugar, all your labs fall into place. All those numbers just start falling into place. So, you know, I'd start it and then I'd give it, and then I have a little bit. You know how that works. It's kind of like smoking or any other vice. So this worked for me. The end result is, and I didn't want to put this out until I really knew, and that's why I waited a couple months. It worked for me not only health-wise, but budget-wise. It worked. So, and what happens is, I was telling my wife, you know, I check my blood pressure 1 or 2, maybe even 3 times a day, right? We have a blood pressure cuff here that we use. You've probably seen it before on our table. But it's the deal. So the deal is my blood pressure used to be high, and I used to be on 5 milligrams of lisinopril, okay, to lower it. Well, about 2, maybe 3 weeks, almost a month ago, I got off of that, because all of a sudden my blood pressure was going down. And obviously, because when you lose weight, your blood pressure goes down. You know, you lose weight, your blood pressure goes down. So I stopped the medication myself. So now I saved an additional amount of money there, a few thousand pesos a month there, just on that medication. So the takeaway on this is, if you are really serious about losing weight, expats, foreigners, or anyone else, Ozempic works, and it's easy to get in the Philippines. I'm not plugging them because I'm not getting paid by them, but I want health, and I want you to have health. Send me some comments and let me know if anyone's on it and what your experiences were, so that way it's not just mine, because it could be different for everybody, you guys. It just could be. I don't know. But for me, it's an A+. As expensive as it is, it's an A+. And don't forget, if you're a senior expat, if you're 60 and above, go to your local barangay and get your senior card. Now, I'm a permanent resident on an SRRV visa, as you know. I don't know if that's why they gave it to me, a non-citizen. That I'm not sure. You'd have to look into that. But I think you can get it even now. If you're on a 13A and you're married, of course you can get it. That's not a problem. But for those of us who are here on tourist visas, you know, that we just keep extending, but we live here, I'm not sure. So you'd have to check with your barangay. But do you know what? Anything's possible at the barangay, okay? You know how that works, I'm sure. Us expats know by now who've lived here. And the ones that don't know and are coming here, watch our channels, not just mine, but watch these channels before you come out. There's Gio in the Philippines, which now Gio will be having possibly new adventures. I just saw him the other day. I met him at the bank in Bacolod, actually, for the second time, because he lives right around there. So we had an interesting talk. I'm not going to say it on the show because I'm not authorized to say anything about that. But anyway, check it out, you guys, okay? Because it's definitely worth it.
Healthy habits, hearts align in the gym or on the run. Healthy habits, we've been